Almost everyone grows up hearing the same advice. Renting is throwing money away, and buying a house is the ultimate symbol of financial success. But if owning a primary residence is always the smartest place to put your money, why do many of the world's most successful investors, millionaires and billionaires, choose to rent their homes in major cities? A house provides shelter. An investment generates positive financial returns. Those are two different jobs. Confusing a basic human need for shelter with a guaranteed wealth-building asset creates a blind spot that carries a high, often invisible financial price. People usually buy a house to get a bigger backyard, a quiet street, or a permanent place for their kids to grow up. Those are perfectly valid reasons to buy, but they are emotional choices based on lifestyle. When we strip away the curb appeal, the luxury finishes, and the neighborhood charm, we are left with raw financial mechanics. And those mechanics lead to an uncomfortable question. Why does the mathematical reality of owning a home rarely match the cultural myth we've been sold? When a real estate website shows your home's estimated value climbing year after year, it looks like pure profit. But the number on the screen rarely makes it into your bank account intact. Take a look at this animated diagram showing a house's perceived value. The core profit is rapidly chipped away by unrecoverable expenses, property taxes, HOA fees, ongoing maintenance, and insurance premiums. These are continuous drains that never stop. The cost of financing removes even more. Watch as the remaining circle morphs into two bar charts here. The left bar shows your total lifetime cost at a 3% mortgage rate. But look at the second bar representing a 7% rate. Your total payment skyrockets. The physical structure didn't improve. The lot size didn't expand. The cost of simply holding the debt became dramatically more expensive. Once you account for all these hidden carrying costs, what most people assume is an appreciating asset actually behaves a lot more like a continuous financial drain. Economists measure this drain through something called opportunity cost. It is the invisible price you pay when your capital is locked into one specific choice, making it unavailable for anything else. Imagine taking a $100,000 down payment and sinking it entirely into a single physical property. Now compare that to the alternative. This split-screen graph maps both scenarios over a 30-year timeline. On the left, house equity shows flat, jagged growth once you subtract all those maintenance and carrying costs. On the right, that exact same $100,000 invested in a diversified index fund creates a steeply curving exponential line of compounding returns. Home equity is locked capital, directly competing for growth against every other investment opportunity your money could have had. Then there is the loss of flexibility. A primary residence can easily turn into housing lock. If an incredible job offer opens up in another city, the physical immobility of your property can force you to pass it up. Attempting to move requires navigating a slow selling process, paying hefty agent commissions, or suddenly taking on the burden of becoming an accidental landlord just to cover your costs. This is exactly why successful investors structure their purchases differently. Instead of tying up their cash in a personal house, they prioritize buying income-producing assets first, like businesses, dividend stocks, or rental properties. Those assets generate positive cash flow, and they use that new passive income to comfortably fund the lifestyle purchase of the home they actually want to live in. Tying up all your available liquidity in a primary residence prioritizes lifestyle over financial resilience. Rather than making you freer, it makes your day-to-day life far more fragile. None of this means buying a house is inherently a bad idea. It simply means a successful purchase requires a strict analytical framework, rather than an emotional impulse. The first rule is to ignore the fear of missing out. Markets consistently punish emotional buying. A purchase must make objective sense, even if absolutely no one else around you is buying a house. Rule 2. Focus on cash flow. Hoping a property's price goes up over time is speculating. Focusing on a positive cash yield is true investing. Rule 3 prioritizes location over aesthetics. You can easily replace old cabinets or renovate a bathroom, but the economic trajectory of the surrounding neighborhood will ultimately dictate the property's long-term value. Treating a house as a true financial asset requires making decisions based strictly on these objective market fundamentals, rather than a personal desire for a dream kitchen. Rule 4 demands a long time horizon. Staying in a property for many years is the only mathematical way to absorb and eventually recover the massive transactional costs of buying and selling. Finally, Rule 5. Avoid becoming house poor. Look at this split view illustration. On the left, we see a pristine luxury home, but the right X-ray cutaway reveals completely empty rooms with bare walls. Letting a mortgage consume so much of your paycheck that you can't afford to furnish the house, invest, save, or travel is a trap. True wealth comes from looking past financial myths and making decisions based on individual circumstances and market data. The ultimate objective of personal finance is creating maximum flexibility and freedom for your future, not merely holding the deed to the most expensive property on the block.